Hello everyone, my name is Gulsen and this is the continuation part of the logistic regression videos. In the last video, we have already seen that we don't know the actual values of WNB. So here we are the to learn or to get the actual values of WNB, and we will see how we will get it. Uh, we have one thing already given, that is data. We already have the data, so here is x and y, which is the data. X, y is the data. And in order to get the values of W and B, we use this data to find out the value of W and B. So what do? We first just randomly initialize the value of W and B. We first initialize it randomly, and then we apply some techniques in order to find out the actual values of W and B. We will see uh, at the conclusion part that how do we actually go for finding the actual values of W and B. We will go through the some we will see some different cases that how we go for actually finding the values of W and B. So let's see the let's see the next slide. Here we have case one. We have case one. Uh, Here, what do we let's actually there are four different cases that we will go through. We will see all the combinations, and then we will comes to the conclusions part. So case one is what, let's say by I, it is the actually by level of the data, which is plus one, and di, which is the uh, di is the w dot xi plus b. We have been already, if you have seen prior videos, then you, I hope so you will get it, what is it. And this is di which is greater than 0. So in the first cases, we have the scenarios that by I is equal to 1 and di greater than 0. That means uh, greater than 0 means plus 1. It means plus 1, and that is we are correctly classifying the data. So here we are having correctly classification of the data, since by I equal to plus 1 and di is greater than 0, which means plus 1. So this is correctly classifying. Um, let's see the second cases. By I equal to plus 1 and di is less than 0. So here we have what, di is less than 0. So actual data is plus 1 and di is saying less than 0. So here we are having incorrectly classification of the data, and uh, our job, so it is having the not classifying correctly. So let's see case third, by I equal to minus 1 and di less than 0. Again, yeah, actually here we are having the correctly classification of the data. And let's see the case 4, by I equal to minus 1 and di greater than 0. Here again incorrectly classification of the data. So we have seen all the different combinations of the values of bi and di, and we have gone through the what is actually happening there. So uh, so if we'll observe it rightly, then we will come to a conclusion. Here, just see conclusion: by I into di. Here we are having greater than 0. So in correctly classification, by I di greater than 0. And let's see by I into di is less than 0. In incorrectly classification, we have by I di less than 0. Let's see here, by I into di, which is greater than 0, because minus 1 plus 1 greater than 0. And case 4, by I di is less than 0. So what we comes to the conclusion is that ignore this for now. Let's see here, what we comes to the conclusion that uh, by I into di greater than 0 means correctly classification. correctly classification, and when less than 0, incorrectly classification, incorrectly classification. And somehow we need to use these techniques in order to find out the actual values of W and V, right? So here we comes to a conclusion. It is nothing but let's see the what are our conclusion. Our conclusion is sigma I is equal to 1. Ignore this. Let's erase it. uh, so what it is by I, and then we have this is nothing but the di. So we comes to the conclusion that by I di greater than 0. That means we are correctly classifying the data. So what do we want? We want max of by and di, as max as possible, because when we will add the negative values, when there will negative values, then this will less. I mean, this will have the less value. So so what we do, we have given data and we have by and di. So we go through I is equal to 1 to n, and our aim is to find the maximum value of this. So this is what our aim is, to find out the as max as much possible. And what is our aim is, here we know that by I is the given data, xi is the given data. This is just the normal random initialization. Actually, this is the variables. W and B is something that we are going to learn here. W and B. So somehow using uh, the given data by I xi. So what do we actually want? We want those. Let's understand these notations that I have written here. This is saying that argmax. This comes to the next slide. Uh, so what we are saying that arg argument maximum W comma B by I. Let's erase it. Sigma I is equal to 1 to n by I into di. So go for those, find out those values of W and V that will give us the max to max this value. So this is what we are saying here. Find those values of W and V that will give the max of this value, max to max. So this is the mathematical problems that we will solve that. So in the upcoming videos we will learn that how we are going to solve these mathematical equations. So for now I think this is enough for this, and uh, in the next upcoming videos we will show you that how we will go for finding out the actual values of the W and V. So this is enough for this video, and I will see you in the next one.